Connecting to the cloud server. You are now recording. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Thanks for jumping on. It is Sunday, February 27th, 2022 at 4:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I do believe it is Standard Time, Josh. I can never remember, but I believe it's Standard Time, so PST. Thanks, everybody, for taking some time on Sunday to hop on, talk a little bit about grit. So we're going to do some introductions, some expectations, go over the schedule for games and practices, talk about the uniform situation, talk about the expectations of the next time we get together. So without further ado, I'll introduce myself. I haven't been able to speak with most of you guys, but there is some people on the call that I don't know. So I am Brant Miner. I grew up in Southern Oregon, Grants Pass High School, class of 2002, go Cavemen. After that, I came up and I played at the University of Portland. Portland, I got to play when we beat Gonzaga. You're going to hear me say that. If you're around me very often, you're going to hear me say that. But I did get to play in a game when we went up to Spokane and beat Gonzaga. Got to travel around the West Coast playing. And right after college, I got into coaching. I spent a season as an assistant on the women's team at the University of Portland as a student assistant my senior year. I coached at Warner Pacific College, University now, Hellstrom, shout out. Don't want to get that wrong as an alum. Warner Pacific University now. And then I spent 5 years at Southern Oregon University as an assistant. And that was a good one, right, Chris? Good school down there in Ashland. It was just a lot of fun. I loved coaching. But when I finished my master's degree, it was time to get a real job. So I moved back to Portland and worked for 3 years, not in coaching. And then 4 years ago, I got the opportunity to come back to Pacific University, where I still work. I'm now an admissions counselor, so I recruit all students to the university. So that's a pretty exciting role for me at the university. I love coaching. That's why we're still going to do this club program. I know some of you guys that have played before, some of you guys are new, just listening, just kind of weighing it out. So I know you guys have options. So we're going to tell you guys more about the philosophy. But before we do that, I'm going to introduce some of the other coaches that will be working with the young men. So I'd like to introduce Josh Gardner. Josh was a manager at Portland State University, the Vikings. We don't hold that against him as a University of Portland alum. I don't judge him based on his choice to go to the weaker of the two. But no, Josh was a manager at Portland State and now is the freshman coach at LaSalle High School. The varsity coach at LaSalle, a good friend of mine who was an assistant at the University of Portland for the women's team when I was playing, is now the head coach there. And so Josh is the freshman coach. So Josh, you want to unmute and tell us what your take is on the Duke North Carolina game next weekend?
Yeah, Duke's gonna take it. I mean, there's no way there's no way. I mean, the way they played when they played North Carolina, even at their place, there's no way those guys are gonna let him in with a loss. It's just not gonna happen. And I'm not as partial to Duke as you are, and so this is a non-biased opinion, unlike what your opinion is anytime Duke's brought up.
Most of the time, I'm going to say Duke's going to beat North Carolina because I just believe that. And sometimes you got to believe it to see it happen. But you are a little less biased, and I think
it also should be noted that I don't hold you wearing purple against you either. So
yeah, purple, not the most manly color out there, but
well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that school in general. But
that's cool. Yeah, I mean, we can argue about this offline, but no. Josh is awesome. Josh is energetic and does a great job working with the young men. So Josh, I appreciate you being here. Definitely looking forward to having you help us and work with these young men this year. Next, we have Brandon Hellstrom, Coach Hellstrom. Coach Hellstrom is currently the assistant coach at Sherwood High School. Previously was at Central Catholic High School as an assistant. Were you 4 years there, Brandon? 5 years?
I was there 1 year, then I was at Liberty, and now the last 3 years at Sherwood. So yeah.
Liberty. Okay, Liberty. With you were at Central with Coach Munson, a good friend, and so Brandon's become a good friend and a good coach, and had high school coaching experience in California.
Yeah, from 2009 to 14, we were at Bayer High School in Modesto, California, and then kind of helped out with that program with sub-varsity stuff. So yeah.
Good stuff. So buyerbasketball@gmail.com.
That's me. Yeah.
That is his email still. So if you guys are wondering. And then not able to be on the call this afternoon. Had some family things come up. Ian Hutchins. Ian is going to be taking over at Blanchette Catholic School in Salem as the head boys coach. So Ian will be working with us as well. And then we'll have some guests come in and help. Jonathan Willis, Coach Willis. Some of you guys that know Coach Willis let out a little smile because you know he is high energy. Coach Willis is one of the best guys I know. I stood with him at his wedding, and he's the head coach now at South Puget Sound Community College. Before that, he was at Linfield. Before that, he was at Willamette. Before that, he was a head high school coach out in Florida. So he'll be doing some stuff with us. Those that know him know that he's definitely worth the price of admission. So yeah, so Coach Willis will be around some also. But now let's move on to what GRIT stands for. So Rowan, I'm so glad that you turned on your camera there, because I'm going to call on you and make you answer this question with push-ups on the line. GRIT, the G in GRIT stands for something besides just grit. I'm going to call on you for this. So tell us what the G in GRIT stands for, Rowan.
I think it's gratitude. All right.
It is gratitude. You just need to make sure you're a little more confident when you say it. So you finally have to do push-ups instead of the 20 if you got it wrong. But it's definitely not maybe, not kind of, it's gratitude.
It's
So
been a
G
while.
is for gratitude. Thank you, Rowan, for answering that. Rowan is a returner from Lincoln High School, a sophomore. His sister was our assistant coach, and his brother was a big time guy this year at Lincoln High School for the varsity squad. Thank you, Rowan. Let's see. Russell looks down, so I'm going to go ahead and call on Russell to unmute. Russell is a returning player. Tell us what the R in GRIT stands for.
R stands for resiliency.
Resiliency. Bingo. You got it. Great job, Russell. Sometimes we get people that think it's other R words, but resiliency is what one of our core values is. So gratitude, being thankful for the big, thankful for the small, and thankful for all the things in between. Resiliency, especially coming out of a pandemic, a global pandemic that's had a lot of setbacks, a lot of tough things going on. We're talking about being resilient. So it's not always how many times you get knocked down, it's how you get back up and how many times. So resiliency. Okay, let's see. We got another returner in Sam. Sam is a sophomore at Jesuit High School. So let's get Sam. Tell us what the I in GRIT stands for.
All right. Well, I've been off for a bit, but I'm pretty sure it's intensity.
Pretty sure. You can say it louder. You can say it prouder. It is intensity. Intensity, Sam. I know you had a little bit of time off, but I know you're a smart kid. You don't go to Jesuit and get the grades you get by not being a smart kid. So you can remember it. Gratitude, resiliency, intensity, and we're all going to say it together. Togetherness is the T. So gratitude, resiliency, intensity, togetherness. So the guys that are back know it's a little bit more than just basketball with our program. We definitely are trying to teach these characteristics and live those as values. So being thankful, just being thankful to be back in the gym. I know it's been tough with wearing masks, and I know that's one of the questions we're going to get. So we'll talk about it. We're not going to require masks unless we have to, or depending on the edge fitness practice, or that's where we're going to hold the practice / workouts. If they mandate it, then I'm going to make sure that we follow it. If it's possible, optional, we're not going to require it. But again, you could wear a mask if you would like. But I think it's hard to breathe, and I'm ready for a little more normalcy. So that's where we're going to stand on that. Hopefully that's not hopefully it's not a major issue going forward. I know they said there was a 2-week flattening of the curve thing, and that was about 2 years ago. That was about 106 weeks ago, I think, that they came out with a 2-week flattening of the curve. So a little bit longer. So hopefully it's not a major issue. So with that, togetherness, intensity, I'd rather be thought of as a little intense than a little lukewarm. So people might think I'm a little intense, or, you know, I was the head JV coach at Pacific. So we have a JV team at our university, and I'd suit up every game. They're like, man, why are you suiting up? I mean, I want to bring it. I want to bring my best every time. And so if you've seen me coach, sometimes people say I'm a little over intense, but I'd rather be a little over intense, a little bit too excited, a little bit too passionate about something than So intensity, that's how we want to play. That's what we're going to stand for. And then we're going to do it together. So if you've played for us before, you've heard me say play hard and play together. And if we play hard and play together, that's the main things that I am concerned about as a coach. If you play hard and you play together, we might lose. I've played hard and played together and been completely fine after the game of games that we've lost by a lot. And I've been upset and mad when we've won games and haven't played hard or played together. So those are the things that we really want to emphasize, is that togetherness, because playing hard and playing together, those are things that we control, and the outcomes of the games, sometimes we don't get to control. Sometimes you're playing teams that are way better than you in AAU basketball, club basketball. So if you're playing hard and you're playing together, we'll live with the results. And we're going to be a lot more focused on the process than the outcomes. So the work, the time we put in, that stuff you have control over. We might play really bad teams, and we're still not going to mess around, and we're going to beat bad teams. We're going to try to beat good teams, but we're going to worry about what we can control, which is our attitude, effort, energy, all those things. So that's what GRIT stands for. If you're coming to these meetings, if you're going to be a part from now on, you'll have a notebook and you'll be taking notes, and that's just to be a part of it. I'm gonna try to lay it out as realistically as the expectations as I can, because some people will get done with this call and be like, not for me, I'm out. Like I just want to show up, play basketball for 2 hours twice a week, play in a tournament, and that's it. And that's okay. But that's not what we're about. So learning how to take notes, learning how to step out of your comfort zone. So that's why sometimes you'll have to talk, not text me the answers, but actually unmute your mic and speak. Sometimes when we're in groups during practice, you'll have to talk in front of your peers, in front of your friends, in front of your teammates, because I think growth happens either at the edge or outside your comfort zone. So that's what we're going to try to do, is really step out of our comfort zone and grow. So yeah, make sure you have a notebook and a pen with you when you come to the meetings, and are ready to be engaged. So I know there's some people that are doing other things on the road. Some people that aren't on the team yet. This is still an informational meeting, but there is an expectation that you will be able to have a notebook and have your camera on and be ready to participate during meetings. Schedule, March 14th. March 14th will be the first practice. It's a Monday, middle of March, and we'll practice Monday at the Edge Fitness in Wilsonville, which is right off of I-5. And we'll practice 6:30 to 8:30. Tuesdays will be individual work, will be homework, will be family time. Wednesdays, we'll be back at the Edge Fitness, same time, same place. And then Thursdays, we'll be at the Middleton Jewish Community Center, which is in near Multnomah Village in Portland. And we'll go 5:30 to 7. So Mondays and Wednesdays, Edge Fitness in Wilsonville, 6:30 to 8:30. Thursdays, 5:30 to 7 at the MJCC. And with that, those are the practice/workouts. So I want to make sure I touch on this why we're talking about schedule. I'm a firm believer that a 14, 15, 16-year-old schedule shouldn't rule and dominate the family calendar. So practices are not required. They're highly suggested, especially if you live in the area. However, we will have players coming from far away. We will have families that have a siblings sporting event out of town or National Honor Society. If there's ever a conflict with your high school or grit, I'm telling you to go to your high school open gym, workouts, those things instead of grit. With that said, Josh and Brandon and Ian and myself, we won't be putting in a whole lot of plays during our practices. I'm a firm believer in trying to teach players to play rather than teach them a bunch of plays. So we're going to have some basic concepts, and then we're going to play hard and play together with some movements and spacing, and try to get you guys to just buy into those two things, sharing the ball. Those are the things that we're going to be in control over. So practices missed won't all be judged the same. If you're playing 2K, if you're playing Fortnite and you just get caught up with your My Player or whatever they do on those video games and you're missing practice because you're playing video games, it's going to be different than if you live in Grants Pass or Medford and you miss a Wednesday night practice. So I'll reiterate that again. Not all practices being missed will be judged the same. Just because you show up to every practice doesn't mean you're going to be guaranteed a starting spot. Just because you miss practice doesn't mean you're not going to have a starting spot. Every case is a case-by-case example or a case-by-case situation. So we're going to try to judge them accordingly. I encourage you to try to be at everything you can because that's how you're going to get the most out of this. But if you're in Medford and you're missing practice, Cannon, you better be working out and you better know the plays when you show up. And I know you're the type of kid, and I know Houston's and some of the players that are coming from a long distance are going to make sure they know the plays. And just because they're not able to be there doesn't mean they're not going to be working hard on their own. So just because you work hard doesn't mean you get to play either. We're going to try to reward people based on how hard they play, but there's also production does matter to a certain degree. We're going to let you guys make mistakes. We're going to challenge you to make mistakes. We're going to push you. Our coaches are going to be demanding, but we think that's because we know we can get a lot out of you and that you're capable probably more than you think. We're going to try to build confidence, but showing us what you can do in practice is a good way to get to do things in games. So I always kind of joke, you don't want to give your bad shooters confidence, right? Like you don't want to, like somebody that's not a good shooter, you don't want to make them like build them up so they think they're a good shooter. But if you're working hard in practice and you're making shots, like then that's how you get the opportunities in games. So show me that you can do it in practice and I'll trust you in the games. It's not let me get in the game and show you that I can do it. The kids that spend more time shooting will probably get to shoot more. But that doesn't mean that we're going to try to have some players just stand inside. I want to try to develop players complete games. So we won't have guys just go down and stand on the block. Tyler knows that. Tyler, you had to move your feet a little bit and guard some perimeter players. And, we're trying to develop players all around skills and take them from where they are to where they want to be. So those are the practices. And I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that not everything's judged the same. If you're nearby, try to be there as much as you can. But if you miss something and it's a legitimate reason why, that's okay. And so parents, I want to make sure you guys hear that too, that not everything's judged the same. So I'm pretty good at communicating with parents and players. So if something's coming up or you're working late and you can't make it, just shoot me a message and that's totally fine. Like, I know it's a different concept than probably most teams are trying to emphasize as far as we need you at everything and commitment. And just because you're not able to make everything doesn't mean you're not committed. I think you can be really committed to something and still have family obligations and things that come up. So tournaments, we're looking at being in 4 tournaments. The first one that we'll play would be April 8th through the 10th in Bellevue. And if you message me and you want me to send this stuff out because you're new and don't have something to write with, I will. But hopefully you're able to take this down. April 8th through 10th in Bellevue. Then April 23rd and 24th. And that will be in the Portland area. And then April or May 13th through the 15th, the West Coast Spring Showcase in Portland. And then Hoop Source Memorial Day Championships, May 28th through the 30th. So April 8 to 10 in Bellevue, which is near Seattle. April 23rd and 24th at the PAC, or the PAC is who's running it, and it's in the Portland area. And the Portland Hoop Source West Coast Spring Showcase, May 13th through the 15th. And then the Portland Memorial Day Championships. So you can tell this, we're not going to LA in the spring. We're not going to Vegas in the spring. We're playing one in Seattle area, well, Bellevue, and then the rest local. My thoughts on that. The focus of grit is not exposure. There's other club programs saying, oh, we're going to get you noticed and we're going to get you looks and we're going to play in this tournament in LA and this tournament in Atlanta. And I don't think that's necessary. I think grit is a lot more about experience and development than it is exposure. So I know some of you guys I know, some of you guys I don't know, some of you I've seen, some of you I can't see. So I just want to make sure we're really clear about that, because I don't want people to think that we're going to be playing in front of Coach K, because he's not just because he's retired, but because we're not going to be on those courts. John Shire, by the way, was my assistant coach 1 year at camp at Duke. Therefore, John Shire, the next coach at Duke, part of my coaching tree. Anyways, besides the point, it's a true story. If you want me to tell you about it sometime, I'm happy to do it. But we're going to try to find tournaments where we're 2-2, 3-1. I don't want us to be blowing teams out. And then obviously I don't want to be getting blown out. So I'm not going to I want to put us in the accurate to where we're going to compete. But very few tournaments are there D1 coaches watching sophomores, freshmen, any level of college. So that's why the big thing for us is development, because you got to get better, every one of you. And I can't see all of you, but I know every one of you's got to get better. It's a nice blanket statement. Even you, Peter, you got to get better. So development, and then experience. We want to make this a memorable thing. That's why we're doing the extra stuff. I want you guys to make friends, guys that stood with me in my wedding or guys that I played club basketball with in high school. So I want you guys, so we're trying to bring together not just the best players. That's why we're not having a tryout. Because you could look good in a tryout and be a knucklehead. So that's where everybody that's on this call has been either a referral, a friend of a friend, somebody that I've vetted out and talked to them and explained all this to. So we're really trying to find the right kids, not the best kids. Obviously, I hope we're the best players and good kids too. Like, I don't want to sound like we're going to try to lose games, but I want to try to get us where we're going to be competitive and compete. And that's the main thing for me, is as long as we compete, we'll be fine with the results. Let's see. Let me check my notes, see what I'm to forget here. So let's see. Communication. Responding to text messages. I'm a really good texter. And so if you're going to be late, if you're going to miss something, if you can't be at something, text me. If I text you, I expect you to text me back. That's one of my pet peeves, is when kids say, well, I didn't get your text, but whenever we're together, they're always on their phone, head down, not even communicating with me. And then they say they don't get my text messages. So if I text you, text me back. That goes along with the communication. We have a cool down period, 24 hours. So if parents, players want to talk to a coach about playing time or complaints or anything, they can, but it has to be 24 hours after the last game. So that way you're not confronting Coach Josh or Coach Hellstrom, myself, Coach Hutchins after a tournament complaining about whatever it is. So, but we're after 24 hours, you can talk to your coach, you can talk to me as a director, but that gives you a little bit of time, because sometimes emotions are high after tournaments, and especially if you didn't get what you wanted or think you deserve. So that goes into the communication policy. Uniforms. We're going to give an invite. So I'm going to connect with each of you before tomorrow evening. So tomorrow evening will be when we'd like to know yes or no, in or out. And again, if you have other things going or you want to try out with some other teams, let me know. And I have no problem with you guys looking around and looking at other programs, because I want you to find the right fit. Some kids, the right fit is at a different program. So I understand that, and I don't want kids ever to feel like they're pressured or tricked or anything into playing for me. Even at the college level, I want kids to go to visit other schools and check out other colleges if I'm recruiting them, and then pick us, right? Like, I want you guys to pick Grit, but I don't mind if you guys do want to talk to other coaches and things like that, because I really do want you to find the right fit. I hope it's with Grit, but if it's not, there won't be hard feelings. Unless you're playing Grit, then you might get beat. You might have 8 turnovers. But I'm still going to be rooting for you guys, because if you're on this, you got here for a reason. So that's tomorrow night, because we want to get uniforms ordered. We want to put our players' names on the back of the uniforms. We want to try to get them so that way it's not just, oh, I'm your point guard, nice to meet you, I'm just showing up today. So we want to try to get you guys to commit. We're looking at finding 20 kids that are the right fit for the program. Right fit's the most important. So if it ends up that there's 21, we might keep 21. With that means they're going to buy in, you're going to commit. Not everybody's going to get to play the same. It's not equal opportunity, but we're going to try to find kids that will buy in and play hard and play together. And so 20 would be the sweet spot. 18's okay, but I know there's a lot of stuff happening and some kids coming from out of town. And so having 20 kids for 2 teams, usually I'd like, well, 10 kids is too many per team. But with schedules, this fall we had a big roster, and very rarely do we have the whole team there. Some tournaments we were even not, I don't want to say desperate, having to ask Peter to play, but Peter got roped into playing sometimes because we did have lower numbers because of homecomings, dances, football, all those things that were going on. So I don't mind having 20, 21 kids. Financial commitment. The spring session will be $1,500 for newcomers. So newcomers will be 1,500. We will have a sibling discount. So if you're a twin, you will get $100 discount. If you're a returner, you will get $100 discount. So there is payment plan opportunities or options. If that's something you would like, please reach out and let me know. And we can discuss that. I want this to work, but it's definitely an investment, and I understand that. But I also am going to pay my coaches, pay our coaches. We're going to gyms and jerseys, and so that includes tournament entry fees, league entry fees, uniforms, coaching, gym rentals. It would not include hotels in Seattle, and that's the only out-of-town tournament that we're doing. So it wouldn't include per diem for you, Cannon, coming up from Medford. It would not, you would not be able to expense your miles. I'm just joking, but no, for real. So it's 1,500, and that includes all of that. And if you have questions about a payment plan, feel free to reach out. Next step. So hopefully I'll be following up with everybody, or you can follow up with me if you're on the call, or if you're watching this on replay and I haven't met you. I've talked to some of you guys on Instagram, Twitter, Snapper Chat, or Snapchat, whatever that one's called. But hopefully we're able to answer some questions. If you're interested in playing, let me know and I'll get you the registration and a questionnaire, which is a Google form that you'll need to fill out. It has just a get to know you grit form. So it has just favorite food, favorite movie, favorite team, just try to get to know you guys a little better. It also has a focus word on there. So you need to pick a word that is your recentering word, the word that gets you back to your happy place. So a focus word is something where if you're in a stressful, high intense moment, you can hear that word, think of that word, and ground yourself back to where you feel more confident, more comfortable, more relaxed. So think about that. And that is on the Google form for you to fill out. That's it. That's all I got. That's a wrap. No, we'll take questions now. Hopefully Coach Hellstrom, Coach Gardner, is there anything that you can think of that I'm leaving out that I might have missed?
Just want to say thank you for taking the time. We're excited to work with you. And you said if this isn't the right spot, that's okay. We want to make sure it's a good fit for you. And we're just excited about this spring season. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Josh, got anything?
No, likewise. I really appreciate everybody taking time out of their Sunday to be here. And, as he said, find the best thing for you, whatever that is, whether that's this or something else. Wish you guys all the best. And those of you that still have seasons going on, hope those end well as well. Appreciate y'all being here.
Love it. The two teams will be by ability. So we're looking right now, it's looking like we'll have 8-9 and a 9-10. And so with the people that have already said they want a spot, we're at about 11 commits. So we're gonna have an 8-9 team, probably would play in a second tier 15U division. The 15-16 team would probably play in a 16. And again, we're going to try to play the best fit for us. So I don't want to say we're going to play in the B division. If we get the right kids, if we're competitive in the A division, then we're going to play in the A division. But again, I want it to be competitive, not get blown out, just so we can say we're in the A division, or blow people out just so we can win trophies. Let's see, what else do we got? Another one in the chat here. What type of stuff would we put in our notebooks? Good question. So the notebook will be for quotes, will be for just things that you hear during the meeting that you want to remember, will be when we're talking about plays on our Sunday Zooms. And so, yeah, just any type of quotes or anything you hear that you want to make sure you remember, that's what you should be getting into your notebooks. Good question. Additional games, yes, great question, Jared. We will, in those off tournament weekends, have Saturday games most of those weekends. Nothing, Sunday would just be a Zoom call, but Saturday would be a league, Hoop Source League. So it would be somewhere in the Portland Beaverton area on just Saturdays, 2 games. Will the team extend into the summer? The team will have a new draft or a new alignment for summer. So we don't want to lock people in to a $5,000 commitment for spring and summer. So we're just going to do the spring session. If you have a great experience, you love it, you want to come back, then we'll start back in July. I believe in giving high school teams the month of June. So most of you hopefully will be playing with your high school teams in the month of June. And then we'll come back in July and have probably 3 tournaments, with the last one being in San Diego. And then the following weekend, the elite basketball school location to be determined, and that would be the first weekend of August. So the summer session would kind of go from first part of July through in first week of August. Good question, Cannon. Must be that great private school education you're getting down there in Medford, huh? All right, any other questions? Is there anybody else who has a question? I'll give it 5. And you guys are welcome. Hopefully you'll reach out to me after the call. So if you are interested, like I said, I want you guys, and I appreciate Josh and Brandon jumping in there and thanking you guys for your time. Definitely, Rowan's not going to forget the G in grit is gratitude. So I know I'm thankful for you guys. I appreciate you taking out 45 minutes on a Sunday to hear us out, and hopefully this is a good fit. I think for the younger guys, it's a great opportunity to compete against the older players. For the older players, I think it will be awesome for you to be a good, to show some leadership and also compete against others that are similar in your abilities. So we have some good kids that aren't on this call that I think are going to be playing, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for everybody. So let me see. I might have just missed a chat.
Hey, Brant.
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah, I gotta put a plug in for the team, just, and the new people that haven't been in there is like, the way you guys run the practices, high intensity you're talking about, so much of it is competitive. Kids, I mean, you just love to be competitive. And so, in practice, you're always doing competitions and stuff. So it's not routine. It's always working hard and trying to get better. And so it's just a really unique program. And I just want to give a thumbs up and say it's worth doing.
I appreciate that, Art.
Yeah.
Still only getting $100 off as a returner, but I do appreciate it. No, thank you, Art. That's nice of you to say.
The first grit practice, it was the most fun I had in a long time, and the most tired I'd been in a long time.
It's good to hear, Sam. Thank you for pitching that information out there, because we do want you guys to work hard. That's how you're gonna get better, is pushing yourself, stretching that comfort zone. But it's going to be high energy. It's going to be intense, but it's going to be fun too. We do like to keep everything timed and scored. Losers running, competition. We want it to be competitive because I think that's that positive peer pressure. If you're the one that's missing all the shots and making your team run, maybe you'll get in the gym a little bit on your own on Tuesdays, right? So there's some of that where it's competitive, but that I think makes you rise up your level and hopefully shows where you're at and what you need to get better at. And you can't hide. And that's the one thing about this program. We're going to call on you. So some of you guys that are just listening in, I know don't have your cameras on, so you're able to kind of evaluate and see if this is a good fit. But in the future, you will not be able to hide. You will be called on. And so that's about all we have. So I really appreciate that, Art, Sam. And hopefully you guys are all reach out and let me know in, out, or if you need more time, let me know. But we do want to get those uniforms ordered and make sure that we're able to lock everybody into their spot. So that way we don't have too few kids, too many kids. So, but I definitely, like I want to reiterate, I want you guys to find the right fit. So if you do need more time or have any other questions, definitely don't hesitate to reach out and let me know because I'm happy to answer questions. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the stop recording. Thank you. It is 4:47, the 27th of February. Stopping recording.